the world go round, you better get some. I don't know about you, me, I'm a prince. I'm using digital circuitry to circulate this currency. Move it with urgency, cause it's straight trying to murder me. Prefer I be in my grave while they out searching. Celebrating with my coins, niggas out here searching. Nah, I'ma wash them with some Tide detergent. You are fucking with the wrong person. For the coins, some people come up with all kind of schemes. Silly niggas for the paper doing anything. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin.
All right, people. Episode 26 off the chain. Let's get it cracking. We got a special guest tonight. I'm doing it early just for him. Matty Greenspan. We're going to introduce him in a second here. Former eToro analyst. He's doing his own thing now. So actually first met him on the KF Financial show. I did a round table with my man Phil over there. And I'm sure many of you know who Matty Greenspan is. He's been quoted all over CNBC, from CoinDesk, all the crypto outlets for sure. So we're going to have him join in a second. In the meantime, hit that like button. And if you guys want to call in, you surely can do that. The number should be on the screen somewhere. Maybe not. It's in the link. It's in the description below. So if you guys want to call in, definitely do that. And we'll get started here in a second. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin 10K, we're right there. This is crazy because Matty's always been the last like week or so been pressing this 10K thing, and it looks like we may get it like while we're live. So this is crazy. These rappers is whack, they lyrics is calm. I'm getting this money, it never get born. I'm loading my strap, they calling law. Fuck around your clap, for running your jaw. If it ain't about the dollars, then it don't make sense.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live! Okay. Fucking thing sucks! We'll do it live. Okay.
We are doing it live, people. Hope everyone's doing well. MH, we've got a few people here. Mastermind, Patrick Drummond. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Again, as I stated, we got special guest, co-host tonight, Matty Greenspan. And go ahead and introduce Matty, man. Thanks for joining tonight, man. This is are you from the States or are you from Europe? I know you live over there now, I believe, right? In the EU? Oh, hold on. Let me see. You say he's got no... Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. Now we should be able to hear Matt. All right, there we go, Matt.
Yeah, you gotta let me unmute myself or something like that. How's it going? How's it going, Mr. Blood?
Good, man. Yeah, thanks for coming on. As I was asking, today. Yeah, are you from the States? Where are you from?
I'm from California originally.
Okay.
And been back and forth between Tel Aviv and California at the moment.
Gotcha. So again, guys, Matt is former eToro analyst, correct?
Correct.
Doing his own thing now. Quantum Economics is his website, quantumeconomics.io. Check him out. Right. You do a newsletter, every week?
Every day, every single day, tell you what's going on in the market, what's going on in the news, how it's affecting things, where the best investment opportunities, the best trading. That's kind of my thing. And at the moment, I mean, you can go to the website. It's just kind of a landing page.
Yeah.
Where you can sign up for the newsletter.
Is it free or is it how much does it cost?
Yeah, it's 100% free.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So definitely, that's the first thing that I did after I left eToro was I set that up so that people could continue reading, because people always tell me, "Oh, I love your newsletter. I read it every single day, so I figured that was like the first thing that I wanted to do, so that people can sign up and continue to get my daily thoughts on the market.
Nice, nice.
No spoilers, but hopefully next week we'll have a brand new website with a lot of different interactive pages for you, a lot of different businesses that we're going into.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. All right, so cool, man. So that's his site, guys. Check it out. Sign up for that newsletter. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. He, like I said, I've been following him for a while, since you really started. Your name started becoming really popular in the crypto space. But yeah, we're definitely glad to have you on tonight. So Phil, hey Phil, what's going on? Phil Kennedy's in the building as well. So
Right
tonight,
on.
man, we're gonna be talking about. We got a couple of things. I know you got limited time. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with, Bitcoin, coronavirus,
I wish Bitcoin would
Tron?
start with me already.
Say what?
I wish Bitcoin would start with me already. I've been waiting for that 10K for like a week or something.
10K. I know. I got it on the
know
screen,
it's
guys.
impossible. Okay, there's the blue line. So we've kind of been in this channel since January 3rd, this upward facing channel. I don't know if I'm able to share my screen here or how it works, but
You should be able to.
let's see. All right, if you can zoom out here, back to January 3rd. Oh my gosh, you got a lot of lines up
I
there.
got a lot of lines on here. Hold on. Let me
You're
get that.
doing lines, Mr. Blood.
Let me get this out the way while we're doing this. Delete. All right. And delete. All right. So January is right here.
Yeah, exactly. From the start of the year.
Okay.
Okay, and you'll see that thing starting to go upward.
Yeah. So if I do, traditional
Yeah,
trend line
exactly.
here.
There you go. Right on the bottom.
then-
That's your line of support.
And then I can do another one right. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit.
Yeah,
Do
there
one
you
that
go.
goes right
now
here.
we're talking. No, from January 3rd. From the
January 3rd.
3rd.
Okay.
I mean,
All
the
right.
first high there was what, on the 6th before it cooled off,
Yep.
right?
It's 84.93, somewhere
along
around
the
there.
tops. Yeah, it'll be. You'll draw that line directly from January.
So you want to do like
7th.
something like that?
Exactly. There we go.
Get this one out the way.
So that'll slope down a little bit more, though, right?
So
Because
we can do it like that.
There we go. Okay, now we're talking, right? So now we have this upward-facing channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the normal tendency of the market would be, if we're in an upward trend, to come down a little bit, right? Especially in the face of such a massive resistance point as 10K, to come and test that support level one more time.
Yes.
Before going for it, right? Because then
Correct.
it'll just be right. If we do come down, test the support level again, then 10K will all of a sudden be in the middle of the channel. So right now we're at this point where, in order to cross the 10K and cross it hard, we actually need to break the upward bound of that upward channel. It's not unheard of. These type of things do happen in the markets quite frequently. But
we know, Maddie. If
minority.
everyone's looking for 10K, normally we don't get it. It's gotta try a second time, right?
We'll see.
And then plus, 10,000 guys is a psychological whole number.
Yeah.
It's got what, three zeros, 4 zeros. So that's a really psychologically
Macro.
4 zeros psychologically. That's the markets like to pivot around those points, and it sometimes takes a lot to get past those points.
When I made that call last week, my point was very simple, that we had enough momentum going, and what I was counting on was a little bit of a short squeeze, which is when basically all of the stop losses and liquidations get triggered on the way up, causing further upward pressure. Now, I guess that didn't happen because I think that since January 3rd, a lot of the short sellers got squeezed out and have been hesitant to get back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And what I want to talk about regarding this whole Bitcoin price and where we are in relation to the halving coming up. The halving is coming up in May. What do you think about this stock to flow model? Are you a fan of it? I know Phil over at Kennedy Financial is. What are your thoughts about the stock to flow? And Coin, or not CoinDesk, but I think it was Coinbase, said that they believe after this particular halving, Bitcoin will be closer to digital gold, literally because of the stock to flow model. It will literally be right there with gold. So how does that? Is this a very important halving that we have coming up to you?
The halving coming up is extremely important. I don't know if it has anything to do with stock to flow or not. There has been pushback on that model from two major economists that I really admire and I follow closely. So I want to say that as far as I've seen, it's a nice theory, but we don't have let's say the jury's still out on that one. What makes this having particularly special is that it's bringing the inflation rate down from 3.68% annually to 1.8% annually.
Right.
The inflation rate of 1.8% is very significant because that's the inflation rate that central banks target. That's the inflation rates that central banks want for their currency. Right, they want to see 1.8% on the dollar, on the euro, on the yen, and quite frankly, they're not getting it at the moment. So they're going to keep running their printing presses hot until they do see it.
Absolutely.
So because Bitcoin is relatively new, and because adoption is growing at a rapid clip, it makes sense to have a higher level of inflation than on a currency that's already being transacted and already proliferating. You don't have the type of growth of new people using it. So that's the reason to me that this halving is significant, because it brings the inflation rate down to the same level, an even playing field with the fiat money.
So what does that mean though? How do you think the markets are going to take that? Do you think since we're now going to have a rate of around 1.7% per annum with Bitcoin, is Bitcoin going to, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, is it going to revert to is it going to revert back to maybe, or is gold going to catch up and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle? Or do you think Bitcoin will continue to head higher simply because of it from a technological standpoint, man, it's got more use case than gold in the digital age, right? Do you think that premium is going to continue to be there and cause Bitcoin to head higher?
I think that both gold and Bitcoin will benefit from central bank policy because both are hard assets with a limited supply, strictly limited. So some people might gravitate towards Bitcoin and some people might gravitate towards gold. I personally hold both of them quite religiously because I see that the central banks right now, to be clear, are printing massive amounts of money and pushing it into the economy at a rate that's not been seen before in history. And they started out with a lot in 2009 and they kept on going, and they've been pushing the limits to see how far they can go. And they've only increased the size and scope of those operations since then. So I think that anything that has a very limited supply, and that can be property, it can be precious metals, or just about anything that you can think of that's limited in supply, is going to become more valuable.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you because you're pro Bitcoin, so it's the obvious. What would you say though to the naysayers? And I heard this earlier on Rethinking the Dollar. They had a crypto. They had Bitcoin Ben on there, and then some other guys who were non-crypto. I wouldn't say non-crypto, but they weren't, like pro crypto like us. What would you say to them about this whole if we have an EMP or a solar flare and the all the grids go down, you can't use Bitcoin. What's your pushback to those types of individuals that say, hey, that's why I'm holding gold versus holding Bitcoin? Do they have a valid point there?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, so there are many things that gold does that Bitcoin cannot do. It's both. I mean, Bitcoin can do things that gold can't, and gold can do things that Bitcoin can't. You can't make jewelry out of Bitcoin. I mean, you can have Bitcoin in your jewelry, but you can't, like you can have, I have a gold ring. You can't make that out of Bitcoin. You can't, Bitcoin, just would simply be useless in the event of, if the internet went down, for example, you couldn't use Bitcoin. So that's why I think that they're two separate things, completely separate things. I mean, people get lost in this, Bitcoin is gold 2.0 or Bitcoin is digital gold. And I think the whole argument is useless or kind of pointless anyways. There are two separate things. They both have very similar properties. One is digital and one is analog. Just like I wouldn't tell anybody to throw away their analog watch and it's worthless now because it's, you can tell time with digital better. I wouldn't tell anybody to throw out their Bitcoin. So their gold. So I think that both are valuable and both will increase in value as the central banks continue.
What do you say to the argument about these digital currencies being a trap, meaning being a trap for central governments and agencies to track us, to control us, so on and so forth? What are your thoughts on that? Because that's something that I heard in the video as well earlier. I don't personally. I think you really can't make that comparison. Like, yeah, if we're talking about central bank digital currencies, yeah, they're centrally controlled. They'll be able to shut your wallet off and track you and do whatever you want. Sure, Bitcoin is trackable or traceable, but there are ways for you to even eliminate that. Right. So, what is your take on that?
Well, Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous, meaning that if somebody has your public key, they can see all of the transactions with other public keys. And there are analysis firms out there who do deep analysis on the blockchain and can get more or less a handle on things. However, those who understand about internet privacy are still able to remain quite anonymous with using Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, case in point, I know it's a sore spot for a lot of Bitcoiners, but there was a child pornographer, for example, who just got caught because they were able to trace his transactions in Bitcoin. I'm not going to go into the technical details, but they've been tracking him down for years,
Mm-hmm.
and they were only able to get him because he screwed up 2 or 3 times and accidentally publicized some details that were meant to be private. So there are ways, of course, of keeping Bitcoin anonymous. That's going to be in the hands of the user. Now there are more privacy coins out there, and I think that some of them are quite fascinating in the way that they work. But generally speaking, that would be some people need more privacy and some people need less privacy, and I think that privacy is not it's not a black and white thing. It's kind of, there's a lot of areas of gray in there. Some people are more happy to report their Bitcoin holdings to the IRS. Some people are not, and that's going to be up to the user at the end of the day. The difference is that now we have the option to make those choices for ourselves.
I agree. I agree with you on that. My whole thing about the whole, doomsday scenario when it comes to Bitcoin or, gold, which is better. Of course, gold is better. I mean, the power is out, right? We can't really utilize Bitcoin. But I would say my point, my rebuttal to that is,
but you can't send gold across
exactly,
the earth.
Exactly. That and the fact that if the power is out, listen, gold is the last thing that should be on your mind.
Yeah.
So that's
I
kind
like
of
to keep cash in my house, a big pile of cash, just in case things.
Because
when the Cyprus bail-in happened, I think we discussed this on our
talked
last.
about that, yeah.
Cash still had value. It still had a normal value, but people couldn't go to the ATM to pull the cash. So whoever was holding cash under their bed was king for that week.
Yeah, and plus, man, most people out here don't know what a troy ounce of gold is worth. So you're gonna be talking to people.
Silver coins, my friend. Silver coins.
Silver coins are probably better, right? So
yes. They're more divisible. It's easier to buy things with silver coins. Gold, you'd have to be talking about something quite valuable in that case. I don't know, a gallon of water or something. But with silver, you could easily buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about this coronavirus situation going on. You're in the EU. How are things over there? Are governments taking it seriously or no? Not yet.
I think China's been doing a pretty good job of containing this thing.
You think so?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at the what is it, Johns Hopkins University website, that interactive map tracker. I'm sure you've seen it.
Well, I've seen I'm gonna pull up the WooFlu.live. I don't know if you've seen that.
WooFlu.live. No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so the WooFlu.live is the one I've been tracking.
They're calling it Kung Flu. Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, no. So what are your thoughts as far as how this is going to pan? I see this, man. I see this whole coronavirus scenario playing out as a possible black swan for financial markets if things continue to get worse. Because in that scenario, can the Federal Reserve really do anything about panic, about fear, about the need to liquidate, right? You can't force a market not to liquidate assets in a panic.
Right. Well,
no matter how much money you throw at the markets.
Sure. I've been tweeting about this quite often, and I've been writing about it in the QE newsletter also pretty much every day since it started. I shot you over the link to that interactive map on your Twitter direct message.
All right, sweet. I'm gonna pull it up.
And I'm in touch now with a good friend of mine who's in China, in Telegram. Obviously, we're using a encrypted Telegram channel because he's paranoid that the government is going to come after him, and we've seen images already. He's sending me images off of YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, and apparently the government is using this whole thing to further their own agenda, and in many cases, it's suspected that we have no proof that this is actually true, but that they're rounding up people for posting online and posting, on social media, and just saying that they have, they have the virus, and they're just rounding them up and putting them away anyways. So there's a question. Also, this number 725 casualties. It just about every person that I've heard who's in the know is telling me that this is way underreported.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and then there's on the bottom right, you'll see that graph there. I think you can expand it into full screen. Yeah, so here is the number of confirmed cases in China. Is the number going up and up and up and up and up? I think it's 35 now, 35,000?
34, yeah, 34.1.
Okay, and then on the bottom is confirmed cases off of the mainland, which is, I believe, under 300 still.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 317.
So we can see that, there isn't exponential growth outside of China, outside of mainland China. So this is why the World Health Organization, for example, is comfortable stating that this is, a Chinese only problem and not a global emergency.
Well, it is until it isn't, though.
Right.
Right.
I think that most places in the East, at least, anybody who's coming in from China, they're quarantining them for 2 weeks. So, in any case, the whole country is on self-imposed lockdown. My friend says he barely leaves the house. They go to the supermarket every once in a while, but that's about it. Otherwise, they stay at home, and pretty much everything is quiet on the streets there. And this is, the world's most populated country and the largest producer of physical goods on the planet. Everything is made in China these days, and it's a running joke between me and several of my friends. We'll go to the supermarket or go down Walmart, and just every single item there is made in China, except for the food. So just about anything that you buy, from a toothbrush to, I don't know, roll of toilet paper, pretty much, everything is made in China these days. So,
yeah. So you bring up a good point, though, Maddie. So we haven't seen the supply
closed.
We haven't seen the supply shot.
So you see Tesla going like this, right? And you go,
oh my God,
close their biggest factory. Their biggest factory right now is offline, right? That new gigafactory that they built in 2018 is not producing cars at the moment.
So what does that mean for you? Talk about everything is made in China pretty much. I agree with you. We haven't seen that supply shock hit yet. The rest of the periphery, other countries. So what does that look like for the stock market? One, what does that look like for just consumers in general? Who, we're talking even like vital things like medical equipment and stuff like that. Supplies and stuff that we haven't seen the supply shock happen yet.
Right.
It's coming. I would say another month out. What is the lag time on that? Do you know?
That's a good question, and I don't think that anybody could really, tell the future as far as that's concerned. I would say that for now we're gonna watch supermarkets and Walmarts start to see their supplies being limited. It's a good question. It's a really good question. I don't think that anybody really has the answer. We don't know.
Yeah, because I was seeing
China's obviously not reporting this accurately. We don't know how many factories are really closed, how many shipping lanes are really closed.
Yeah.
All we know is that everybody, or everybody that I've spoken to in China isn't really leaving the house. So I'm kind of
we know the workers aren't at the dock. They're not you know what I'm saying? So it's like
exactly.
You can kind of project outwards, like, okay, well, no one's at the dock,
right,
moving those cranes and stuff around, and evidently things are kind of on a halt.
In the meantime, the stock markets just keep going up.
Oh my God.
Because the assumption here is that the People's Bank of China are just going to inject enough cash in order to keep the stock prices up.
So if you saw, I don't know, I was looking at charts, and I looked at, we had there was a huge gap down on the what's the Asian market index? I forgot their market.
Shanghai Composite.
Shanghai, I think, was a huge gap down, and then over the weekend, and then they said they were doing the $200-something billion infusion or whatever, and it was just, since then it's been going up, trying to fill that gap. I wish I could bring that chart up, but that same Monday, our stock market started heading higher over in the UK, FTSE, everything following that same pattern.
Yep, and the Fed is also printing money into the markets, as is the European Union. So stock prices can stay irrational for quite a while. especially when they've got fresh money coming in, which is baseless cash. And I'm not worried about the stock markets. And all I'm worried about really is the currency that they're printing, which at some point is going to start feeling the effects of all of that new money that's been introduced into the market.
When do you think, and how do you think, maybe not so much when, because there's no crystal ball, we don't know, but what are the side effects from all of this? More so, we know what that looks like for stock markets, but what does it look like for Bitcoin and for cryptos? How can people play this on the crypto side? Do you see any direct correlation? Do you see anything that will benefit us?
So I'm sorry to disappoint, but my base assumption is that most of the inflow of money that we've been seeing into the crypto market over the last few weeks has been a direct result of central bank action. So meaning as they print more and more money, it's not just the stock market that benefits, but also everything that's investable is benefiting from that. So that includes crypto. So if all of a sudden that goes away, the question is, do people start to, or do investors start to use that as a secondary market, as a safe haven, let's say? Now, one of the main reasons that I'm making this assumption is that, first of all, that it's alt season at the moment. That it's not Bitcoin that's rising, it's altcoins. And that tells me that investors out there are looking to take risks. And they're doing it in, Tezos and Zcash, Dash, and Bitcoin SV.
Right, everything.
Whatever they can
Shitcoins,
take a risk on. And give me some of them Bitcoins.
Right.
So at the moment, it's a very risk-on market. So I believe that Bitcoin has never seen a really ever risk-off market or a bear market in the stocks long enough to understand how it might react to it. But the question is, will it really even matter, right? I hope that it does. I hope that the world continues to run smoothly. I think that's the best thing for all of humanity. To sit on the sidelines and hope for a financial crisis, I think that's very juvenile. I know that there are people out there rooting for the system to collapse, but let me tell you that would not be a pretty picture whatsoever.
So sitting in cash is not, to you, a good strategy to
not
employ
at all
right now?
No, I think cash is probably the worst thing that you can hold right now. I mean, like I said, I like to keep some cash in my dresser drawer, or my safe, just to be, just in case, I don't know, system goes down, ATMs aren't coughing out anymore. I can't take Bitcoin to the supermarket, and I'd rather not spend my silver and gold if I don't have to. But cash would not be as far as an investment. I mean, we've seen times in history when cash was a good investment. I don't think that this is one of those times right now. I think that as much as you have credit in the bank, you're probably going to be better off using that for investment and investing in things that have actual value.
Gotcha. So as far as crypto, still on that topic, what coins are you currently looking at? I mean, all the altcoins are pretty much going up, so people are buying with no discretion right now. Is that going to stop soon? If so, is that rotation back into Bitcoin kind of the play that you're seeing, or where do you see what do you see happening from this point on? I mean, we're right up against. I'll bring up the chart again, ladies and gents. I mean, we're at 99.17 right now. We were.
Yep. That's a serious test of the 10K level, my friend. That is
We're
a
trying it, man.
test.
We are trying it. What are your thoughts though, as far as from here? We got a lot of crypto people on in the chat watching right now. What would you say to them?
I don't know if you're able to pull it up at the moment, but I actually have a high risk profile right now that I opened up in eToro, which is where I used to work.
Drop me the link in Twitter if you will. I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's give me a second. And you can see what I'm holding right now. I mean, it's pretty much altcoins all the way.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll pull that up. Shout out to Michael Holiday for the super chat. He said, you can get the PrEP antiviral online. It is currently in trials for treatment. Okay, have to check that out.
Okay. Yeah, I heard of some miracle drugs, and I hope that the whole coronavirus thing disappears, and I think that it's possible.
Yeah, I hope so as well.
And judging from last few epidemics the world has seen, I mean, people start panicking, and then it goes away. So
Right.
We hope that that's the situation. But what I'm really focused on at the moment isn't trying to project what might happen in the future and how this might spread, but actually the economic impact of what has happened already and what's happening right now.
So as you guys can see, I'll let Matty go over his portfolio, but you can see that on the screen. He's got Tezos, Litecoin, Tron. We're going to talk about Tron tonight as well. EOS, that's my favorite coin. He's 30% invested there. 11%. XRP, Dash, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Okay, let's go through this. What was the reasoning behind this weighted average? Well, the allocation here.
Yeah, and anybody. So at the moment, it's simply because it's alt season. I've got Bitcoin as just another coin in my portfolio. Since the beginning of the year, Bitcoin has been the worst performer. So I'm still holding a little bit of it, but it's really light. I do believe that whenever this alt season is over, either we see a come down in all of the cryptos, in which case I would want to limit my exposure in general and start moving to, at least as far as this portfolio is concerned, move to cash, because this is a crypto only portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Or we see a consolidation back into Bitcoin, in which case I would move most of it to Bitcoin and see if any of the other alts are performing. I might hold them underhandedly. But at the moment, we do what the market's doing, and the market is definitely telling us it's alt season. So that's what we're playing.
So when you pick your altcoins, is there any fundamental analysis behind it, or are you just technically looking at different coins and saying, okay, this one broke the simple moving average, or this one broke a trend line? How do you pick those coins? Is it a fundamental
momentum,
or no?
I'm just looking at momentum.
Gotcha.
What's moving, and I'm not using too many technical indicators. Just looking at the percentage gains over the last few days, over the last few hours, sometimes over the last few minutes. I might make some small adjustments, but adjustments cost money in commissions. So always try to.
My guy, Better Days. I already know where he's going with this question. He's a BSV shiller. He said, talk about what coin was the best performer in the last 18 months. We know Better Days.
All right, Better Days. Well, from my perspective, I'm not going to hold on to things that I don't really believe in or.
Oh man! Don't say that too loud. Better Days is going to be on you.
Let him come.
So no BSV. That's not one of the topics for tonight, so I won't even go on that one because we're limited on time. But I do want to talk about Tron.
Let me just stop you. Let me take a 2-minute break, and then I'll be with you for another half hour or so. Okay?
All right, cool. So no problem. So Maddie's gonna take a break here. So guys, if you want to call in, do that. Definitely call me up. I like to talk to you guys. The chat rooms are cool, but would love to get you guys to call in and discuss some things with me and Maddie. Let me put the phone number on the screen for you. I think I must have deleted the scene that had the phone number on there because it is no longer there. But you can see the number right here, 669-900-6833, and the code is right there, 169-861-119. Let me know what you guys are up to. Donald Muhammad, what's going on? We got the Last Flow, John Hill, John Default, what's going on, brother? Crypto Nans 4 LTC, he said Litecoin is the right coin. That's definitely something that Matty has in his portfolio. I dropped the link in the chat room so you guys can check out Matty's portfolio. Pretty solid portfolio, to be honest with you. I like what he has there. I definitely like what he has there, with the exception of XRP. I'm not a huge, you guys know I'm not an XRP fan, but it's up probably. If I do a sort, we can see from a sorting P&L on his portfolio, which are his top performers. Tezos, number one, 44% up so far. Ethereum, 33%. Litecoin, 18%. We've got EOS at 16%. Bitcoin, 14% up. What's that? Cardano, 8%. Tron, 4%. XRP, 2%. Dash, less than 1%. And we got a negative return, which is insane, on what's that, Zcash or Zcoin. It's crazy. But overall, I think that's a really good portfolio that he has, to be honest with you. To be totally honest with you guys. So again, give me a call, 669-900-6833, and the code is 169-861-119. Give me a call. All right, so let me get Matt back on. I keep calling you Matty.
Mati.
Do people call you Matt?
People call me all kinds of things, Mr. Blood.
So let's talk about this Tron, man. Tron is Justin's son, man. He is a marketer. Yeah. He is a PR genius. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I would have to say he's successful at his PR.
What do you think? Because I think your former CEO of eToro was there as well, right?
Yep. I wrote about it in my newsletter on Friday as well.
What is this? What does this do for Tron first? Let's talk about Tron, and then more broadly, what do you think?
12% within an hour.
That's what it does, huh?
Yeah.
These crypto markets are irrational, aren't they?
A little bit. So I was actually the one who first suggested to Justin that Yoni would go. I was working back in eToro that day, and he was looking for. He just had, and I said, okay, these are my top picks, and he retweeted my picks, and among them was both Charlie Lee and Yoni Asya. So I guess he liked my suggestions. As far as I don't think that this really affects anything. I mean, it's just something cool that happened in the crypto space. But as far as so I don't know, Justin's son thanked Warren Buffett for his support and ideas on how to grow TRX network. What does that mean? Probably
what does Buffett know about growing a blockchain network?
No freaking clue, man. He knows a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. So let's just say that he probably knows something about, I don't know. He knows about business. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
that's without a doubt.
Tron is a business, right?
I guess. Yeah. I guess so. So
say he's a good marketer and PR guy. So what is he marketing? He's marketing a business.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think that he was able to, in any capacity, win over Buffett? I mean, I don't think so. Buffett is like, He's like,
So
man, I'm 80
I read all the
old.
tweet storms. Yeah, it seems that they went in looking to convince Warren of specific things, and he took them all on and convinced them of a bunch of stuff. I have Yoni Asias now going, okay, anybody know about value investing? I need to learn more about this stuff. Yeah, so that's basically what happened.
So they took the opportunity to really ask some real investment questions eventually in the conversation, huh?
What it seems like is they went in trying to convince him of things, and he ended up convincing them. Which I don't know. That's what it is, I guess. Look, Warren Buffett likes to invest the way that he likes to invest.
And it worked extremely well for him in his lifetime, right?
In his lifetime, yes. And my conclusion that I wrote in my newsletter as well, and somebody tweeted it, was kind enough to tweet it, that Warren Buffett started his career in a very specific time in history. I think that really worked. And one of the sole principles of value investing, which is what he does, is to look at which companies are undervalued compared to what the company itself is worth. Now, from everything that I've seen at the moment in this time in history, you might have companies that are relatively undervalued according to what the company is worth. However, most stocks, and any company that's public anyways, is going to be overvalued at the moment simply because of the amount of money that's being pushed into the market,
right,
and forced down investors' throats. So you can find private companies that are going to be undervalued, but Joe Public can't invest in those. That's only investors who have.
And is that why the IPO markets are all upside down? Because a lot of the valuation is already being priced in the secondary markets, right, before they even hit.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct. I wouldn't touch any IPO with a 10-foot pole at the moment because the value has already been had. And they're going to come onto the market. I mean, I think every major IPO since Facebook has already been way overvalued by the time it hit the market.
So Friday, I believe Casper went IPO. The mattress, the sleeping mattress company, Casper. You never heard of them?
Not familiar with it. No.
Okay. Well, yeah, they went public and they had to bring their valuation, like cut it in half, and then it was just crazy. So yeah, I mean, they're having a difficult time hitting the markets nowadays, and I think when we saw it kind of started, maybe not started, but it really, people started paying attention when WeWork failed to go public. Yeah. And they were like, oh, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. WeWork and Uber, I think, are prime examples of that. And it's just the matter of everything that's public at the moment it's just had its round of all of the cash that's being injected is affecting it already, and just the valuations are haywire. So I don't know that now is a particular, and even Buffett himself, I mean, God bless him, he's moving to cash at the moment.
I was gonna say that. Yep, he's moved to cash. That should be a clear indication for the rest of Wall Street to book some profits, man. But they're not.
There isn't any value or deals to be had at the moment in the public markets.
How much Buffett's got? How much in cash? 100 and something billion. Can't remember the number.
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's crazy.
I don't remember 500 maybe.
Yeah. So Tesla. Speaking of stocks, Tesla. We were going to talk about that tonight. What is where do we go from here with Tesla, man? I mean, I put out a tweet Thursday, pre-market. I said, not financial advice, but I would short here, and it dropped over 30% altogether in I think a day.
As of October, Buffett's holding $122 billion.
That's what I thought. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about Tesla?
Wee.
He's a genius. You know, I like
Yeah.
Elon Musk as a
Oh
person,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but the stock, man, it's just. And
Yeah.
now the narrative is, okay, we know it's overvalued, so now we're gonna value or we're gonna price Tesla as a tech company now, because we know the automotive valuations on it. It just doesn't make any sense. What are
Right.
your thoughts? What's going on with Tesla?
How are they going to monetize all of the fans? That's the
Yeah,
question.
right.
How are we going to monetize all of the people on our mailing list?
Oh man.
Get out of here. Tesla literally has to. I mean, they are right now. The company is worth more than Ford, BMW, and two other
GM.
car
GM
companies.
combined.
GM combined. It's just ridiculous. Get out of here with that. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, they. It's amazing that they are one of the only companies that are really innovating right now. Going to, and I know, and I've been pointing out this trend for a while, that investors like to, especially millennial investors, like to invest in things that they believe in.
That's right.
And electric cars, that's one of them. And I've been invested in Tesla for a very long time because of this. But there comes a point when you have to say, where do you put a roof on that?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have blown through that roof already. In my opinion, it doesn't make any sense for them, because you know what's going to happen now, right? I mean, GM and Ford and all the other ones are going to come out with their own electric cars, and they're going to clean up their act. They're going to realize Tesla's success, and they're going to follow their footsteps. And they've got a lot of money to do that. So what, are you kidding me? Tesla's not going to take over the entire car market. It doesn't make
Impossible.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and we've got GMC.
They'd have to literally reinvent the internet to be worth what the market is currently pricing them at.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think the price of the stock is as you stated, pricing in competition at all. It's like it's like a monopoly.
It's not pricing in anything. What it's doing is just it's momentum trading. People have thrown the book out the window and said, let's look at this ADX and other momentum indicators, and we'll use that to determine what we should buy and what we should sell. And every single person that's doing momentum trading feels like he is God, and he has some special way to know when the top of the market is in, and he can get out before everybody else. Good luck to you.
Yeah, we got Hummer coming out with the EV. GMC Hummer 2022.
I do like a good Hummer.
That looks I like that. It looks nice. So again, these are the types of things that Tesla's going to have to compete with. Every time a new car, a new EV comes out by their competition, it shrinks their market size. It's competition. So
yep.
I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see, but I definitely think we can't pick tops, but seeing Tesla do what it did this past week really has me thinking that the stock market top is near.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you where, but I'm almost willing to say I'm gonna put some shorts on the S&P 500, but
not yet.
It's I mean,
not yet, because that melt up can melt your face off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it can, and it as long as whatever happened in Tesla. So think about the stock markets, like the crypto markets, right?
Yep.
What happens in the alt season, right? You get these massive pumps, 100% pumps, in a few days or a few weeks or whatever, and all of a sudden, this coin, for no particular reason, just goes wild, because what happens is, the markets are excited. Investors are sitting on the sidelines and going, what should I buy today? And then they look at whatever's moving, and then they jump on it. And if you get enough people jumping on a little bit of movement, what ends up happening is a snowball effect every single time, which is exactly what happened in Tesla right now. And I'm quite certain that it might happen in other stocks as well as we go. Maybe not in some of the larger cap ones, but probably some of the mid cap ones will start going too. All of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, because investors have the cash to deploy and they're looking for that momentum. They're looking for that high, and they're going to see what they can get onto next. And I don't think that, and that whole dynamic could play out for a year or 2 years or even 5. You don't know, because the Fed continues to pump money into the system. And as long as the Fed is pumping money into the system, if you put on your short, you're trying to fight the Fed. And you don't fight the Fed. That doesn't, I mean,
don't fight the Fed.
That
That's
is not
true.
a money-making strategy. That is a money-losing strategy. And I've seen over the last 10 years, so many clients get burned trying to short the markets.
Honestly, that's what's going on with the whole. We got a caller in here, and we'll plug him in a second. But I'm gonna finish my thought. That's what's going on with the hedge fund business. You know, the value investing business is horrible right now because they can't get any alpha. There's no alpha because the indexes are doing better than anything they could put together. You know, it's crazy. So value investing is what's in right now. You know, let's see who's on the phone here really quickly. We've got my buddy 10 Pound. 10 Pound, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Crypto Blood? It's good to chat with you again.
What is going on with the shades, man? What's going on?
Bro, it's a long story, man. It's a very long story. But let's just say I'm a little sensitive to light at the moment. Yeah, and I got a bunch of studio lighting around me. So
all right. So what's going on, 10 Pound? What did you want to chime in on with I got Matty Greenspan on tonight.
Madness in
Hi, Mr. Pound.
Hey,
nice to meet you.
Likewise, it's an absolute pleasure. And I really want to chime in on his statements and sentiment on what he was discussing about people knowing damn well that something's over-evaluated, but pretending like they could just like get out at the right moment. It's insane, you know.
We do it every time, though. It's the craziest thing, right?
Absolutely.
It happens every time.
Yep, and it's not just stocks that this happens with, you know. It's like, for instance, Ripple, you know, like fucking last time Ripple ran up to $5, CNBC was telling people.
I saw Ripple at $1, and I pushed the cash out. I had $1. That was my limit. I said, I'm out of here, guys. It kept going up and up and up, and I was kicking myself. The same thing for Bitcoin. As soon as Bitcoin hit 10K, I was like, I'm out. I'm out. Yeah. And it kept going at 20, and for within a week, and I was like, what's going on? And I started watching the fundamentals and watching the network, and it was just crazy. And I was
but what happens is
I'm losing, but it ended
you
up
have to think about it though, Maddie and 10 Pound. When you're talking about timing tops, you can't time it. You have to look at where you are in the market and say, okay, if I get out today, if it even goes up another 50% or double, am I willing to hold on to try to get a double, another flip, and possibly lose? And I'm wrong, and this is the top, and possibly lose more than half my money, or you got to look at it from that that proposition. Like, you just got to get out, man. You can't time the tops. It's just it's a sad thing, man. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right. It is a sad thing because somebody's going to get burned in the process, and hopefully it's not you. So.
Might be me with the shades on next time.
So here's the thing that I also wanted to touch.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not a lot of people that aren't working.
Sorry, you were cutting out. You want to repeat?
I said, I wanted to touch base on how China, Beijing has literally quarantined 400 million people. And that's a lot of people that aren't working. That's
God, I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah. A Bitcoin mine shut down because the Wuhan coronavirus. I don't know, guys.
Hey, Maddie, you just to cut you off there, 10 Pound. Maddie, you talked about that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about people saying Bitcoin is in danger because of the Wuhan flu and the mining. What
Okay. Oh boy. So I've heard opinions ranging from Bitcoin is going to go up because of the coronavirus, and Bitcoin is going to go down for the coronavirus. I can't say that I agree with any of them. Sorry, if all of a sudden the hash rate, okay, so we know from the most recent analysis, China contributes around 68% of Bitcoin's hash rate. Now, if that were to drop off, if 68% of Bitcoin's hash rate were to drop off gradually, I don't think that would hurt Bitcoin at all. Like, not even in the slightest. It would just make it easier for people to mine, and it would decentralize Bitcoin, and other miners would step in and maybe not get the hash rate back up to where it was, but at least the difficulty will drop and Bitcoin will still keep chugging along, one block every 10 minutes or so. The danger would be if the hash rate dropped off suddenly all at once. If 68% dropped off all at once, it would still be difficult to mine because the difficulty adjustment comes once every 2 weeks. So the problem would be that we'd have blocks that were getting long, that were very long to mine until we get to the difficulty adjustment. And this is, the theory is called Bitcoin death spiral. It's been hypothesized by several economists that something like this could happen, meaning that if there's a sudden drop in hash rate and it's still it's basically too difficult to mine Bitcoin, and the difficulty adjustment keeps getting farther and farther away. Now, I suppose something like that is possible.
Yeah, it is.
However, now, first of all, it's extremely unlikely that much hash rate would drop that suddenly that it wouldn't be able to properly evaluate it. But secondly, and more importantly, there are people on the sidelines who have the skills, and they could put in a Bitcoin proposal to change the code of Bitcoin that the difficulty adjustment would happen sooner. That's, I think, because that's quite easy to do from a technical standpoint. And I believe that it's not something that anybody would have any real objection with as far as the community is concerned, because it's either that or we don't have a Bitcoin anymore. In that case, I think that the entire Bitcoin community would go along with such a proposal, and it could be implemented quite quickly. So as far as I see, I don't see much danger of coronavirus hurting Bitcoin in the sense that because it's mined in China, it's all of a sudden going to not be mined anymore. Bitcoin continues to produce blocks, whether or not, the hash rate at the moment. Yeah, there you go. The hash rate at the moment, if you zoom out on this chart, I think you're probably looking at the last few months, maybe. Go to like all time. Yeah, there we go. Now look at this. Since 2017, we've seen an explosion. Mm-hmm. We could see, as long as it happens in a gradual way, the hash rate could come down to
30% easily and still be fine, right?
What it is at the moment, exactly. And Bitcoin would not be any less secure. I think that the hash rate at the moment where it is now is probably a bit too much. So if the hash rate came down, I don't think that there would be any real danger from that.
Yeah, I think Bitmain greed at the moment in the market, flooding the market with new ASIC technology, testing out their latest and greatest infrastructure. So there's no other reason behind those hash rates. So
yeah, and I agree with you, Maddie, that a proposal. Go ahead.
It's not just Bitmain. I mean, all of the mining companies are having a virtual war as far as technology is concerned. ASIC technology is progressing very quickly, and that's why the hash rate continues to go up.
And like you said, though, you bring up a good point about a proposal change. I think we're still so early in this technology, in this space, that an upgrade to the protocol wouldn't be hard to implement. I don't think we've gotten. I've heard years ago. Andreas Antonopoulos will always talk about that critical mass point, like us getting past the point where we could upgrade the nodes successfully. We're not there yet. So yeah, I think if we got into a death spiral, an upgrade would be a solution that would fix it. Me personally, I don't think it'll be an issue. So 10 pound. You got anything else for Matty Greenspan while I have him on?
Well, yeah, the fact that Warren Buffett's in cash. I heard him mention this before. It doesn't mean that cash is the most viable form of wealth at the moment. So, what are your ideas on diversifying into actual real assets? And do you see Warren Buffett actually investing into the crypto market long term now that he sat down with Justin Sun?
I think he's not gonna invest now.
Yeah, a conversation with Justin Sun is not gonna get anybody to invest in Bitcoin.
No, man, I'm sorry.
No, I don't know why Warren Buffett is holding cash at the moment. I think that he's just not seeing any companies that are public that are fitting his picture perfect ideal of value investing, and rather he's just kind of rotating out of those markets. I do believe that there is a lot of value to be had in the private markets at the moment, and I don't know why he's not looking at those a little bit more intensely. That's what I would be doing anyways, because the most of the money, or a lot of the money that's been printed, has been going into technological development. And for some reason, and we can see it most clearly in tech stocks, right?
Yep.
Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, and Google have all been going through the roof over this quantitative ease. Yeah, through this QE. But they're not really innovating at the moment, are they? Most of them are just kind of using their cash to preserve their market share
and gobble up other, do acquisitions as well. They're doing a lot of acquisitions, these tech companies.
So where the real prize is right now for the money that's sitting on the sidelines is to go out and find who is really making new stuff that's going to forge the future of technology. What comes after the smartphone, for example, right? And that is where I believe any real investments are going to be. That and hard assets as a hedge. Make sure that if the system collapses, you're going to continue to grow your wealth.
Absolutely. I agree.
Imagine if that bubble does pop.
Everything.
What's going to happen is all of that money is going to try to get itself out of money and turn into gold and silver and Bitcoin and property and everything that's hard. So all of that money is going to rush into those assets if it does happen, when it does happen.
And it comes down to this being the everything bubble. The money isn't just going to flood into, stocks anymore after that pop. So,
well, my thing with Warren Buffett, man, is, you got to have some dry powder to pick up distressed or discounted assets. So I think that's probably what he's looking to do. He believes, in my opinion, that a downturn is coming. So he's going to pick up. That's what he does best. He made more money during 08, 09 situation than any time before. So that's what I'm expecting him to do the same thing again.
Yeah. So. The markets are definitely over exacerbated, and he sees it, and he's going to capitalize as he typically does. So, nonetheless, guys, take it easy. All right, have a good one.
All right, man. Take those shades off, man.
All the best.
Nah, I'm good, bro.
Turn your lights down low.
Turn your lights down low, man. All right, 10 Pound. Thanks for checking in with me. All right. So, yeah, I think that's it, though, Matt. Maddie, did you want to let the audience know anything else before we check out tonight?
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. That was a lot of fun. And nice to meet you all. Some really interesting comments over here. Definitely keep in touch on Twitter and yeah, sure, through the site as well.
Yeah, quantumeconomics.io. I'm wondering if he picked QE on purpose.
100%.
I'm looking at him like, that is QE. Okay, all right.
It's called the QE newsletter.
Yeah, the QE newsletter. How fitting. So quantumeconomics.io. Check his website out, guys. And also he's on Twitter. Check him out over there. It's Matty Greenspan, right? That's all one word.
That's correct.
Yep. All right, cool, man. Thanks for coming on tonight, ladies and gents. Definitely go check out Matty Greenspan if you haven't. I'm sure you had to have known about him unless you're under a crypto rock. But yeah, that's it, man. I appreciate everyone for checking in. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. All that good stuff. We're out of here, people. Ha!
Bye-bye.
No cap, nigga, back. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin,
Fucking do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin.
Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. Okay.